the top-ranking communications official at the department in charge of combating the pandemic. The Department of Health and Human Services is a dangerous crank who is undermining science and raving about delusional conspiracy theories. His name is Michael Caputo. The Trump administration installed him at HHS in April, right, in the midst of this once-in-a-century pandemic, despite a history of sexism and racism and conspiracy mongering that would keep most people from getting hired just about anywhere, never mind the Trump administration. The New York Times reported that Caputo posted a video on Facebook yesterday in which, get this, he accused career government scientists of sedition, claiming they do not want America to get well, not until after Joe Biden is president. Caputo also claimed that Trump's opponents are now training for an armed insurrection after the election, telling his followers that hit squads are being trained all over this country, quote, and when Donald Trump refuses to stand down an inauguration, the shooting will begin. The drills that you've seen are nothing. He added, if you carry guns, buy ammunition, ladies and gentlemen, because it's going to be hard to get. Caputo also said, this is the guy who's currently the head of comms at HHS right now. This is what he posted yesterday. He also said he expected that these imaginary left-wing hit squads would be coming to kill him personally. Now, these are the ravings of a man completely untethered from reality. But they are not much of a surprise, I got to say, coming from Michael Caputo. Just the month before he was appointed as the top spokesperson at HHS, he was saying offensive things like this.
I'm so proud of the president standing up in front of the media, accusing him of creating a stigma by calling it the Chinese coronavirus. You know what created a stigma for China? You know what did? By maybe even manufacturing this in a bioweapons facility in Wuhan, or maybe it's their eating habits where they suck the blood out of bats and eat the ass out of anteaters.
There's zero evidence that it was manufactured in a bioweapons facility, just FYI. So that guy, that Michael Caputo, the one who thinks that a left-wing hit squad's going to kill him, that there's going to be shooting, who's telling people to stock up on the ammunition, who talks about eating the ass out of anteaters. This is the man in charge of disseminating public information about the pandemic. Now, probably goes without saying, Caputo has no background in healthcare. He's a longtime ally of, yes, you guessed it, Roger Stone. In fact, he was mentored by him. And he has long worked to boost Trump, recently authoring a book called The Ukraine Hoax. He's praised white supremacist and alt-right figures, pushed anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. And while he has now apparently purged his entire Twitter account, he's posted and deleted racist and sexist tweets, complete with crude references to oral sex and tweets like, I would never sleep with you, dog face. Cool guy. This guy isn't just pushing this nonsense, this disgusting, paranoid, dangerous nonsense from his government perch. He is, in fact, actively working to manipulate what the CDC tells the public about the pandemic in what is arguably the single most important public health publication in the world. It's called the CDC's Morbidity and Mortality Weekly Reports, and it had, until Donald Trump, been apolitical. Think of it like an epidemiological version of the newspaper's stock charts or baseball box scores, right? Write-ups of games. It's a publication that informs scientists and public health experts about the latest data and trends in infectious diseases. Everyone reads it in the world of public health, everyone. On Friday, Politico's Dan Diamond first reported that Michael Caputo and his team have been working to change the reports to hew closer to the president's more optimistic message. Quote, Caputo and his team have attempted to add caveats to the CDC's findings, including an effort to retroactively change agency reports they said wrongly inflated the risks of COVID-19. Caputo's team also has tried to halt the release of some CDC reports, including delaying a report that addresses how doctors were prescribing hydroxychloroquine, the malaria drug favored by Trump, as a coronavirus treatment despite scant evidence. That's not all, though. This thing is kind of happening everywhere right now. A Trump administration appointee and advisor to Caputo is trying to prevent Anthony Fauci from speaking about the risks that coronavirus posed to children. Meanwhile, top U.S. officials told the CDC to soften its coronavirus testing guidelines, right? I want to slow the testing down, the president said, in an apparent effort to get case numbers down. The FDA says it is willing to fast-track a vaccine before phase 3 trials end as Trump pushes for one to be released before Election Day. The Times is now reporting that officials are worried about the prospect of an unvetted vaccine and the pressure being brought to bear on the FDA. This is what is happening in America in the midst of a pandemic under Donald Trump. Political hacks, cranks like Michael Caputo, that guy, they are working in positions of authority to undermine the science we need to fight a once-in-a-century pandemic in an attempt to cover up the illness and death the president is responsible for and to boost the president politically. The politics of denialism are running roughshod over scientists. And we saw that on absolute full display today. Couldn't come up with a better tableau than this. Trump's event in California, which has been devastated by forest fires.
We want to work with you to really recognize the changing climate and what it means to our forests and actually work together with that science. That science is going to be key, because if we ignore that science and sort of put our head in the sand and think it's all about vegetation management, we're not going to succeed together protecting Californians.
Okay. It'll start getting cooler. You just watch.
I wish science agreed with you.
Well, I don't think science knows, actually.
It'll start getting cooler. That's the guy that said cases were going to go down to zero before he had 6 million cases and almost 200,000 Americans dead. That guy. So it's hard to think of anything more dangerous at this moment than letting the Michael Caputos and Donald Trumps of the world tell us what the science knows actually.